Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Jey Uso losing the World Heavyweight Championship to Gunther on last week's Raw perplexed fans as he was hardly 50 days into his title reign. Now, wrestling veteran Jim Cornette has speculated that WWE and Triple H might have been prompted to make this decision due to a fear of fan backlash in the long run. While the Youth Master's popularity wasn't in question, with him regularly garnering loud reactions, some wondered if it was the right call to have Jey as champion when the Raw roster was loaded with big names. After weeks of chatter, Triple H pulled the plug on Jey Uso's title reign when Gunther choked him out to regain the gold. The decision was also reportedly due to Goldberg's impending return and WWE's plans to have him challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. On a recent episode of his Drive-Thru podcast, Jim Cornette stated that there was no doubt that Jey was an accomplished all-around performer who won over the fans. However, he then added that the company might have feared that it could eventually result in backlash with fans questioning Jey Uso's top spot on Raw. Gunther needs the belt more than Jey Uso does because Gunther needs to keep his heat. Gunther needs to be a monster that still needs to be slayed, and it's rare when it happens. Whereas Jey now has had it long enough, as I said, that it wasn't a fluke, but you avoid some blowback because at some point, everybody likes the music, everybody likes the entrance, everybody likes Jey and his promos and the way he sounds and feels, heartfelt. But sooner or later, they are going to start looking at him and go, wait a minute, Jey's the world champion with this roster? With all of these guys? Said Jim Cornette. 145-227. Rikishi wasn't happy with WWE for taking the title off Jey Uso. On the latest edition of his Rikishi Fought Off the Top podcast, the WWE legend didn't hold back before blasting the company for prematurely ending his son's title reign. Rikishi went as far as to say that the Stamford-based promotion wouldn't have taken such a decision if it were Randy Orton or John Cena in Jey Uso's place. What is it against my boy, that you just feel like? Would you have done that to Randy Orton if you threw the belt on Randy for a while? Would you have done that to John Cena? I mean, let's talk about it. Because last I know, at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, he had the whole arena yeet. It remains to be seen what WWE has in store for Jey, with reports suggesting that he could be in for a grand reunion with his brother, Jimmy Uso, soon. In a stunning twist that has sent shockwaves through the WWE universe, Jey Uso's reign as World Heavyweight Champion has come to an abrupt and controversial end. And according to a former WWE manager with decades of backstage insight, Triple H's decision to strip Jey of the gold wasn't about ratings, politics, or locker room tensions, at least not in the way fans might think. Let's rewind. Just a few months ago, Jey Uso shocked the wrestling world when he pinned Seth Rollins clean in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania, clutching the World Heavyweight Championship to his chest as fireworks exploded overhead. It was the culmination of a remarkable singles run that saw main event Jey finally step out from the looming shadow of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. For fans, it was vindication. For Jey, it was validation. Yet, in typical WWE fashion, nothing gold can stay. Rumors had swirled for weeks that Triple H, now firmly steering the creative ship, was unhappy with how Jey's reign was playing out. Merchandise sales were solid, crowd reactions thunderous, but something behind the curtain wasn't adding up. Enter Armando Estrada, a name many fans remember as the cigar-chomping, fast-talking manager of Umaga during the Ruthless Aggression era. In a recent explosive podcast appearance, Estrada dropped a bombshell that has everyone buzzing. Triple H didn't take the title off Jey Uso because he wasn't drawing or because he didn't believe in him, Estrada claimed. He took it off him because he did believe in him, too much to let him stay in the shallow end. According to Estrada, Triple H's vision for Jey Uso extends far beyond a single reign as the B-Show champion. The former manager says he's heard from very reliable people backstage that Triple H sees Jey as a top babyface who needs to be rebuilt for the real prize, dethroning Roman Reigns once and for all. You gotta understand how Hunter thinks, Estrada continued, slipping back into his trademark swagger. He's not Vince. He don't care about shock value for shock value's sake. He's playing chess. Jey winning the World Heavyweight title was the first move, but him losing it? That was the checkmate in the making. Estrada claims that keeping Jey at the top of the Raw roster would have boxed him in as the guy who's champion because Roman's not around. In other words, a placeholder. And if there's one thing Triple H hates, it's placeholders. Insiders say that by taking the title off Jey, via a storyline that saw him betrayed by a surprise returning Jimmy Uso, No less, Triple H has reignited the Bloodline saga with fresh venom. The betrayal angle repositions Jey as the ultimate underdog once more, giving him a mountain to climb that feels even steeper than before. Fans witnessed the heartbreaking scene last week on Raw, Jey standing in the middle of the ring, blood trickling from a cut above his eyebrow, staring down his brother Jimmy, who had just cost him the title against a gloating Damian Priest. The camera zoomed in on Jey's wide, devastated eyes as Jimmy mouthed, "You ain't ready yet, Uso." Social media exploded with speculation. Why sabotage your own brother? What strings did Roman pull from the shadows? And how could Triple H allow this injustice? Estrada says that's exactly the point. Hunter's writing a damn Shakespeare play with the Bloodline. It's betrayal, redemption, betrayal again. He knows fans need to see Jey fall so they can explode when he finally rises. And believe me, he's gonna rise. Of course, not everyone buys into Estrada's theory. Critics argue that Triple H has mishandled the title scene by playing musical chairs with championship gold. Detractors believe Jey's sudden loss makes him look weak and undermines the prestige of the title itself, especially with newer stars like Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes waiting in the wings for a chance to shine. Still, Estrada doubled down. You watch WrestleMania next year. Or maybe the one after that. It'll be Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, one-on-one, no bloodline interference, no Paul Heyman mind games. Just two brothers fighting for more than a belt. Fighting for freedom. That's what Hunter wants. That's why he did what he did. As for Jey, the former champ has kept quiet outside of a single cryptic Instagram post, a photo of him staring at the empty championship pedestal, captioned simply, "Bet." It's vintage Jey Uso, short, raw, defiant. And it's all his fans needed to rally around him once more. Meanwhile, Triple H has refused to comment on the decision directly, only offering a sly grin at the post-show press conference when asked about Jey's loss. "In this business, the story's never over," he said. "It's only chapter by chapter. Keep reading." For now, the focus shifts to Damian Priest, who stands tall as the new World Heavyweight Champion. But if Estrada's prediction holds true, Priest might not hold that gold for long. Rumors are already swirling that Seth Rollins wants his rematch, Drew McIntyre is stirring trouble backstage, and Cody Rhodes has unfinished business on Raw. But the real story, the one Triple H is allegedly writing an invisible link, still revolves around Jey Uso. If Estrada's claims are true, then Jey's devastating loss is not the end of the road, but a pit stop before the main event of his life. And somewhere, in the shadows of the island of relevancy, Roman Reigns is surely watching, calculating just how many pieces Triple H is willing to sacrifice to finally play the checkmate that makes Jey Uso the tribal chief in his own right. One thing's for certain, if Triple H really did take the title off Jey Uso for this one major reason, then the WWE Universe might be about to witness one of the greatest redemption arcs in modern wrestling history. And when that final bell rings, we'll all remember the moment Jey Uso lost everything, so he could win it all.